Jesse Puljujärvi. We get a lot of questions. Why is he here? Could he go to the AHL? What do you see with him?
You get questions?
I do get questions, actually. And
What do
I
you
have
say?
a question myself.
So the question is, why is he here?
Yeah.
Well, he's here because he's on the team, and he's shown that he can play at this level. He hasn't played lately. I believe there's a chance he'll play tonight. It's not ideal to have an 18-year-old not playing every game. He may see some time in the American League. We'll see how it goes. He will not be joining Finland for the World Junior Championship.
What have you seen in his development from the start of the year to now? Has it been, I mean, obviously in the early going it was a steady uphill, but has it leveled off a little bit?
Well, when he's not playing, I don't see improvement, but I've seen improvement from the start of the year. And the last, I think he's squeezing the stick a little bit. He's had chances to score. The fact that he's in position to score is a good thing. But when an 18-year-old doesn't play all the time, or he's playing limited minutes, and this is an age-old dilemma. I mean, you have to balance the development at playing 8 minutes versus 15 minutes or 20 minutes somewhere else. So I've had extensive discussions with the coaching staff. We're all on the same page on this, and we'll see how it goes throughout the holiday and throughout the Christmas holiday. But I'm happy with his development. He's it'd be ideal if he was playing every game, but he's not. So we'll address it as it goes along.
To what extent is the fact that he's dealing with a bit of a culture shock make you guys want to sort of keep him here to sort of acclimatize him to North America as opposed to sending him down?
Well, a little bit. And I think the language is a big issue. Like the distinction between him and David Pastrnak, who was in the same position and we sent to the American League in Boston, was that David knew the language very well. So that's part of it. He's a big, strong kid. He every time he's played, he's made 3 or 4 plays, and the fact that he's in position to make 3 or 4 plays is a huge step. So ideally, you'd like him to make those plays over a longer period of time each game, but those are the circumstances.
How are you guys helping him? Is he taking English lessons?
Taking English, yep. Yeah, living with an English person, yep. Jesse's a workhorse too. I mean, he works off ice. I mean, he's like the fact that he's not playing every game is mitigated a little bit by the fact that he works on all levels here. He's in the weight room all the time, and so he's helping himself out that way.
We got an update yesterday on Darnell Nurse. Maybe just the thought of the personal disappointment you have for a guy like that made the strides that he had. Does the team need to potentially look at other options, or are you going to sort of do it internally with him out over the next few months?
We're very deep at D, and I'm satisfied with the D that we have here and in the minors to fill in. I think Darnell played a good role in the third pair and was developing. It's unfortunate that he got hurt and that he'll be out that long.
With McDavid, there have been a number of guys coming and going from that line. In an ideal world, is it a line that is static, that's a fit, that stays together all the time, or is having guys platooning in and out of there based on who's playing well, is that okay too?
There's no real answer to that. I mean, like we've kind of treaded water here for the last month and a half, and when that happens, lines get changed, pairs get changed. In an ideal world, you'd think your lines would be the same all the time. That's not realistic. So we'll see, who's up there next. And Drake's acquitted himself fairly well. I mean, really, there's no firm answer to that other than things could still change.
Are you surprised with the progression that Leon has made in his all-around game and his work that he's done in specific with face-offs and how he's taken on that challenge, perhaps a microcosm of the growth you've seen with him?
I think he's developed very well. He's shooting the puck better. He's better at face-offs, as you say. I think he's engaging more in battles. He's still a young player and still has to improve in other areas. But I mean, he's at times he's been a game changer. Some of the plays that he makes. So to have that come out of such a young player and to know that he's a big, strong kid and getting stronger, it makes you feel not too bad.
How do you assess Gustafson's play when we have seen him, and maybe just as well, how do you feel about Talbot's workload to this point?
I think Gus has been giving us 2 good games and 2 bad games. He's a good person. He understands his role as a backup. When you've got a goalie who, as a number 1, who takes a lot of the net, it's hard. He's done it before, so he knows where he sits in our goaltending universe. With Cam, I think he's played well. You know, these goalies, and you see it across the league with some number 1s. Like, you have little dips, but Cam's given us good goaltending.
You had Nugent Hopkins with North America, and obviously his play was talked about there. Where's he at now compared to where he was at the World Cup? What have you seen from him?
I think he's not where he was the World Cup, and for whatever reason he's not there. And I know he can be there. I really liked his 2-way play, and it's not. And I'm not unsatisfied with his play either. I think there's players that can be better, and he can be one. But what he's given us, I haven't minded, and I know there's more because I've seen it firsthand. So he's just got to get his confidence up a little bit. He's caught in this grind right now, like the rest of us, and it hasn't been pretty hockey, and it's just a function of the games and the number of days. The last 40, 45 days, it's been a little mind-numbing. Probably been a little mind-numbing to watch too. So he's in the collective group that way.
Peter, I know you touched on Cajula briefly. You brought him and Benning in. Are they giving you what you envisioned?
Yeah, well, they're both playing in the NHL, and they're contributing, and they're both learning. Matt has been a real bright light. I mean, he's a very smart player, and he's getting better every game. And he's got the mobility and the passing ability that really adds to our transition game. Drake, he's a month and a bit behind just from the injury, and you see flashes, and I know he'll get up to speed. But happy with them both.
Overall, the way this team's coming together, have they exceeded what you were expecting, or is this kind of on schedule for how you thought this team was going to be this year?
I'm happy where we're at. You know, I knew the start wasn't. We had a good schedule to start. Now we've had a tough schedule, so maybe we've settled to where we should be. You know, I've seen improvement in every category, and that makes me happy. Whether it's the statistical stuff, or whether it's what meets my eye test from the transition game and the forechecking game. You know, this grind hasn't been really entertaining, and at times it's been a struggle. We've harvested some points, and that's important in an 82-game schedule, and to get your footing. And when we kind of right the ship when the schedule's a little better, I'm not putting it all on the schedule. I'm just saying, you know, that's like Winnipeg's the same thing. They're in that grind. So I find that we're enduring it better than average, and that. To me, that this is a marathon, and so at this point, that's okay.
So at what point then, the other night, Paul Maurice came out and said, my team didn't play as well as they can play because of the schedule. Todd McClellan said the same thing. You're saying the same thing. At what point do we get concerned about the product when we're running 2 teams out every night that are too tired to give you the best product?
At what point does the media get concerned with the product?
I would say the fans who are paying
Well,
a huge dollar to get in here, and they're saying 60% some nights.
I think that the people have tough schedules, especially in the West, and that's been there all the time. So the answer, I don't have an answer to that question. Like I think the schedule, it balances out, and that unfortunately that's when you put 82 games in with a compressed schedule. That's one of the byproducts. I don't have an answer, Spec.
What did you make of your captain's comments in Philadelphia last week? Did you like that a little?
I like that Connor expresses himself. I know the type of person he is, that for him to say that, it was very significant to him, for him to actually say that. I'm all for free speech. He also has a role as a captain, and he's done that quite well. So, you know, the stuff that happens in a game, and sometimes it comes out, sometimes it doesn't. So I didn't have a problem with it. Well, you know, not really. I know he's got that inner fire. He's, you know, as his career progresses, you can see now he's a target all the time. So he's been in that way all his life. So he knows how to deal with it, and he dealt with it as he saw fit, and I'm fine with it.
What have you thought of Chris Russell so far, and is there a thought process about, you know, extension? When do you start processing that?
I think Chris has been very good for us. We missed him when he was injured. He's that transitional type of D that I think very effective on the breakout, which is something we wanted to improve. It makes us a faster team when he's in the lineup. He battles. He great stick, great defender. Good leader in the room. You know, at some point we'll sit down and talk about an extension.